Hey everybody! Welcome to our fun show! Today let's talk about misery.
Is this what you're looking for?
Nope, not that misery. Well, kind of. Let me explain. The media, especially local news, loves a feel-good story about people pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. Something that fairness and accuracy in reporting calls perseverance porn. It's a trend in news media in which human economic suffering is tied up in a bow and presented as something adorable, like a picture of a big-eyed puppy crying over his lost health insurance. Who can't pay his premiums? You can't! You can't! If you're still not sure what I'm talking about, here are a few examples of real headlines. Young boy sells baseball cards to help friend with cancer. Boy sells lemonade to pay for his own adoption. The article opens with, "This is one story that's got us right in the feels," and praises the boy's entrepreneurial spirit. Yes, that good old entrepreneurial spirit behind Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, or small boy who sells sugared lemon juice so he can have parents. Or how about this one? Heartwarming. Homeless child gives new backpack away to person sleeping on sidewalk. At first glance, these are harmless, heartwarming stories about neighbors helping each other out or people overcoming strife through hard work and determination. But when you actually stop to think about it, for the amount of time it'll take me to get to the point, these stories are a symptom of a sick society that is unable and unwilling to care for its own citizens. Take this feel-good misery story, for example. A teacher ran out of sick days to stay with his cancer-stricken daughter, so his colleagues donated 100 days. The story is framed to try to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, to make you think, ah, how sweet of all those teachers banding together to help their coworker visit his sick daughter. And yes, of course it's nice when people come together to help someone, and these teachers sound like genuinely good people. But the story is actually horrifying when you dig into it. The subject of the story, David Green, is a history teacher whose baby has cancer. He's only given 1 sick day a month, but his daughter had to receive treatment in another town, so he needed at least 40 days to be able to visit her while she went through the grueling process of cancer treatment. The Green family posted about their predicament on Facebook, and fellow teachers and administrators offered to sacrifice their sick days. The assistant principal, Wilma DeYampert, is also going through cancer treatment, so she could only donate 2 sick days. And whoa, why is it up to other teachers to give up their own sick days to help a father visit his cancer-stricken daughter? Yes, it's kind and it's generous, especially for the assistant principal who is also fighting cancer. But why do teachers have to choose between helping their colleague care for his sick daughter and their own sick days for when they get sick? This has got to be some kind of freak circumstance. Surely it's not like a trend or something. Surely not everything is terrible. What's that? Everything is terrible? Splendid. Yep. As it turns out, this whole teachers who spend their lives trying to educate our children don't have enough sick days for when they get cancer is actually kind of a thing here in the US of A. But don't worry, it looks like other school administrators who also have cancer will donate some of their sick days. So cool. All the feels. Fun puff piece, let's run that. Here's a fun, clickable story. On average, teachers only make about $60,000 a year nationwide. And that's an average, so many teachers, especially in lower income areas, are making much, much less than that. In many states, the average is only around $40,000 a year. On top of the generally low salary that teachers receive, they also receive only about 10 to 12 sick days per year. And if you, say, get breast cancer, you have to pay out of pocket to cover the cost of a substitute teacher while you enjoy the luxury of chemotherapy. And yes, this exact scenario did actually happen to a real elementary school teacher. So when you see the headlines, a teacher ran out of sick days to stay with his cancer-stricken daughter, so his colleagues donated 100 days, or a teacher battling cancer ran out of sick days, school employees showered him with theirs, or orphan boy with 2 broken arms sells lemon juice to pay for own adoption and surgery. It's not a nice story. It's a very terrible story that has been framed in a sort of feel-good way. Although that orphan boy, what entrepreneurial spirit. Every time he squeezes a lemon to make lemon juice, it hurts his tiny broken arms. But gosh dang it, that's the sort of rags to lemon juice story our country was built on. When life gives you no parents and 2 broken arms, make a small business. Now, here's the heartwarming tale of a teacher who was battling stage 3 colon cancer and who, after 23 years of faithful teaching, wasn't given enough sick days to get chemotherapy for his cancer. Adorkable! The article is clearly framed as a feel-good piece, rather than a chilling look into an endless dystopian nightmare. The article describes the teacher who, in desperation, reached out for help on Facebook. CNN writes, within 4 days he had enough sick days to cover an entire semester. He couldn't believe it happened so fast, Goodman, 56, told CNN. See? Problem solved. In 4 days! Humanity came through. Goosebumps. All the feels. CNN goes on to write, teachers, staff members, administrators, and even lunchroom workers who pay into the Florida retirement system transferred 75 sick days to Goodman. I don't want to take away from how genuinely good-hearted these people are. The teachers, staff, administrators, and lunchroom workers are all likely underpaid, overworked, and still donated their sick days, which they might need someday to be sick because they're good people. But just because they themselves are good and their actions heartwarming, the situation itself is not heartwarming. And framing it as such distracts us from the gritty reality that a man who taught for 23 years wasn't given enough sick days to cover his cancer treatment. The article is full of beautiful aphorisms such as missing school but still teaching a lesson. The lesson being that if you get cancer after 23 years of teaching, you'd better hope the lunchroom workers have enough spare sick days to cover you, because while this story had a happy ending, many similar stories do not. Take, for instance, the example I mentioned earlier, where teachers have had to pay for their own substitutes while undergoing cancer treatment. Or teachers who earn so little they can barely afford to pay for childcare for their own children. Or sometimes, even when someone tries to do the right thing, the kind, warm-hearted thing, instead of getting a feel-good ending, it results in someone losing their jobs. Here's a fun little story. In 2014, Jennifer Mitz, a Tennessee high school teacher, took a sick student to the hospital. The 20-year-old student had a high fever, didn't have transportation, and didn't have health insurance. Mitz paid for the student's hospital costs out of her own pocket. What a touching story. I'm sure that's where it ends, with everyone hugging and maybe a doctor comes into the room, but the doctor's a Labrador retriever in a lab coat. Please just let me have this one. Please? No? Fine. I will continue to suffer. Well, this kind-hearted teacher was allegedly forced to resign. The school administrators argued that she'd been warned before for taking another sick student to the hospital. Maybe the school administration thought they were doing the right thing. Maybe they themselves feared retribution. I don't think they're monsters who don't care about children. But this incident does show that good deeds don't always make up for a profoundly broken system. A system where if you don't have health insurance, well, you'd better hope you have a teacher willing to risk being fired over driving you to the hospital. This isn't the only time someone has been punished for trying to help a student who lacked health insurance. This year, a superintendent was arrested and charged with felony insurance fraud for taking a student sick with strep throat to the doctor and paying for his antibiotics. As this student didn't have insurance, she tried to pay out of her own pocket, but the clinic refused, so she took him to another clinic, lying and saying he was her son so they would treat him under her insurance. After being charged with felony insurance fraud, she resigned from her position and said, "I knew he did not have insurance, and I wanted to do all I could to help him get well. I know this action was wrong. In the moment, my only concern was for this child's health." Don't you worry, folks. This dangerous criminal doing helping sick uninsured children crimes has learned her lesson not to help anyone again. The prosecutor in the case scolded her, saying, "What kind of message is that to send to the students you're in charge of?" And thank God they arrested this woman before she could teach children to try and help others. What's next? Teaching children that they should want to provide poor people with health care? That was a close call, but we nabbed her, boys. So even if you want to do the right thing, to try to help someone who is neglected by our society, sometimes your actions will be against the rules and you'll be punished for it. It's almost as if the health insurance industry's main priority is to make money and not to help people. And the police are there to enforce rules that benefit the insurance industry, but not that. No, that would be incredibly distressing and bleak and would require we actually do something to change our society. So, hey, here's a story about an adorable kitten. We have an update to the story. God damn it. You see, for every feel-good story about someone managing to navigate through the broken glass and the flaming barrels of toxic waste that makes up our society are hundreds of stories of people who aren't so lucky. For instance, check out this headline. Totes adorable. But then, this. Turns out a 9-year-old's allowance, in fact, cannot solve institutional poverty. Now, I'm not trying to be like a massive Debbie Downer, sad sack, killjoy, McBuzzkill, although that is the name of one of my albums from my alt-rock band, We're Turbo F***ed. My point is that the saturation of feel-good, suffering stories inoculate us against absorbing how unfair and cruel much of our society has become. And sometimes these stories are straight-up marketing ploys. Check out this headline. KFC gifts new car to employee who walks 6 miles a day for job. And KFC just really cares, you guys. The Colonel's out there giving cars to his employees. I know he acts like a tough guy, but that white mustache is a mask that hides just how much he cares about each and every one of those single moms who work for him. And that little white soul patch, it's because he has a soul, you guys. Deep down in his heart, he's a finger-licking good person. Or, this is an empty, calculated marketing ploy by the company to appear charitable towards their employees barely making minimum wage. In this story, the single mom had been struggling to save up for a car. Her boss entered her into KFC's Kentucky Fried Wishes contest. Now, sure, it was nice of her boss to enter her into this contest, and who can blame her for being happy for winning a much-needed car? But let's look into KFC's grand gesture here, which news organizations were credulously reporting as a beautiful, heartwarming move by the company, saying things like, quote, KFC is really trying to drive home the point that it appreciates its employees. Ah, nice! A car pun. Since she didn't have a car. Or on CBS, where they wrote, quote, the special honor is given to KFC employees by the KFC Foundations. Employees can nominate coworkers who go above and beyond at their job, and KFC will give them something special. Yes, because only those who walk 6 miles every day to their jobs deserve something special, and working long hours at minimum wage alone isn't going above and beyond. So the Kentucky Fried Wishes Award is described on the KFC website as a contest wherein anyone can nominate an eligible KFC restaurant employee for a Kentucky Fried Wish. The wish could be big or small, need-based or life-enhancing. Examples of requests include dental work, a car, debt relief, a meaningful experience. The possibilities are almost endless. Well, the possibilities certainly aren't endless, as only $35,000 will be granted nationwide in 2019. Now, you may be saying, hey, Cody, at least they're giving away money. I mean, I don't see you giving away $35,000. First of all, to be fair, once I did give away $35,000 in Minecraft coins because I wanted to help build a giant dick building, and I wanted the wing of the left testicle to be named after me. So that's philanthropy, you f***s. There's Minecraft coins in Minecraft, right? I don't know. Secondly, in 2017, KFC had a revenue of over $3 billion, while their parent company had a revenue of about $6 billion. So $35,000 is literally pocket change. In fact, on average, their employees won't even make $35,000 a year. According to the Huffington Post, Yum Brands Inc., which owns KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, is one of America's lowest paying companies, and their KFC franchise in particular compensates their employees the least. Yum! The story of this single mother who had to walk 6 miles a day before Kentucky Fried Wishes blessed her with a car happened in Salem, Oregon. So let's take a look at the average KFC employee salary in Oregon. According to Indeed.com, a KFC customer service representative earns, on average, $20,000 a year. This is barely above the 2019 federal poverty line of $16,910 a year, and according to the MIT living wage, is well below the living wage of $53,000 a year for a single parent and child. In fact, a KFC manager won't even earn that much, with an average salary in Oregon of $47,434, according to Indeed.com. In short, Indeed, the free advertisement that KFC got from this story probably paid for itself, all without having to actually improve the lives of the majority of their employees by increasing their salaries. That might cost them a few of their many thousands of millions. But if you're wondering why KFC knew it could get away with this blatant marketing without being questioned, you only need to look at stories like this one a year ago. CEO gifts employee car who walked 20 miles for the first day of work. Try that headline again, Washington Post. Come on. Or this one. Loyal customer gives McDonald's employee free car after hearing about her struggles. Or this. Whoops. How'd that get in there? Just gonna hold on it so you have time to read it. Okay. Anyway, I don't think it's wrong to point out the good deeds that people do. It's actually important to remind ourselves that human beings are often kind, and many people are willing to help each other in the face of adversity. But seemingly, more often, the news media doesn't bother to dive into the circumstances behind these feel-good stories and frames them in a way that's supposed to be uplifting, rather than circumspect about how much society has failed people. These feel-good stories are supposed to be neutral, apolitical, just a good old, a warm and fuzzy story. But there is no neutral story. By omitting the systemic problems behind these stories, they give us a warped perception that there's some kind of just universe that will compensate for unfair systems, delivering unexpected rewards to those who have labored under crushing inequality. When in fact, most of the time, this simply isn't true. People are exploited, work hard for years, are left without health insurance or help, and simply fade into the background. And it's important to recognize this, not to feel hopeless, but to realize that we actually need to act, that we can help people. But in order to do so on a massive scale, we need to work together as an entire society to implement actual changes that will help everyone, regardless of whether their Facebook post pleading for help gets enough views. Because it's true, deep down, most of us really want to help each other, I think. But we're not omniscient. We don't know where our charity dollars are needed most. We don't know which of the countless GoFundMes we should drop $50 on to save someone's life. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not. In 2017, a man named Shane Patrick Boyle started a GoFundMe to pay for a month of his life-saving insulin. And he couldn't afford the spiraling cost of insulin, which is set by the effective monopoly that Sanofi, Eli Lilly, and Novo Nordisk have on the drug. Shane had lost coverage of his medications after moving to Arkansas to care for his sick mother. He started a GoFundMe and raised $750, only $50 short of his goal. If people had known that only $50 would have saved his life, I'm certain they would have chipped in, because if we can learn anything from the feel-good suffering news stories, it's that people do want to help each other. But there are so many people who need help, so many GoFundMes set up to cover medical costs. It's literally impossible to know where to spend that $50, where your dollars need to go to save someone's life. Shane Patrick Boyle passed away due to lack of access to insulin for his type 1 diabetes. He didn't die because people are uncharitable. He died because charity as a band-aid to cover our broken healthcare system doesn't work. And that's a very sad story. How about this? Pretty cute, right? Or this? How about this one? What an entrepreneurial spirit. What a pull yourself up by your paw straps attitude. God damn it! Hi everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to support us, you can on patreon.com/somemore-news. We have a podcast called Even More News. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. You can like and subscribe and leave a comment on YouTube, which is a website you've been on before, so you already know that. And when you think about it, right?